Hey, I have a number of fashion reveals today.
Wow. Okay.
Here's reveal number one.
This is very exciting.
My BetPARX.
Nice.
Do I look like Pete Rose? Because his hat was a little too large.
I like it.
The new BetPARX app, everything you want in a digital. If you like it, wear yours.
Mm-hmm.
The new BetPARX app is everything you want in a digital casino and sportsbook. It's the only casino and sportsbook app I recommend. The BetPARX app has you covered for football season, and what a year it'll be. Bet on pro football futures, which means right now, like bet on how many games the Eagles are going to win or how many yards Brady is going to throw for this year. Follow at BetPARX on Twitter for game lines, odds, boosts, game lines, odd boosts, and more. I'm so excited. I can barely contain myself. Live in-game betting. BetPARX has you covered. Join me right now on the all-new BetPARX Casino and Sportsbook app. Bet all your favorite sports and play all your favorite casino games for real money. Download at the App Store, Google Play Store, or at betparx.com. Got to be 21 and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter, and fashion reveal number 2. That would be these specs if you're watching on YouTube. I forgot my glasses. I have sunglasses, and I need prescription to read. So I can either wear my sunglasses or I could wear TC's glasses.
They're my readers.
These are your readers?
Yeah, they're like, so when I
How
go,
do I look?
You look great. When I go, should I take my hat off too?
This if you want, or you can keep it on, your BetPARX casino hat.
When I go out to a restaurant, this is wild. I need contacts in order to see distance.
Right.
But when I go out to a restaurant, in order to see the menu, I need readers with my contacts to see close.
Wow.
But when I have my contacts off, I can see perfectly close.
And you purport to be how old?
I'm 50.
You're 50.
Oh, I'm loving being 50.
You've been 50 for 4 years.
I've been 50 for, what is it now, 9 months.
Let me get back to my reading here.
Wait,
yes.
Does it help?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. There's a difference for me between reading off my laptop and just reading generally.
Okay.
I mean, I need, if I'm sitting here like reading my articles and so forth, I need glasses for it.
Got it.
Can I read without them? Yeah, I can.
Do you have to hold it way, way far away like
I
this?
don't know. I have to. Here, let me just see.
What happens is the way it was described to me that there's one number that says when you're going to need glasses, when you're going to need readers.
Yeah.
And that number is 45. And that number is your age.
Like right here, I can read. I can read.
Okay.
President Biden arrived at Air Force One on Monday with a jaunty step, a playful manner, and a huge grin.
What are you complaining about? You're fine.
Former President Donald J. Trump said on Monday that the FBI had searched his Palm Beach, Florida home and broken open a safe. I'll get to that in just a moment.
You got like fighter pilot eyes.
Unbelievable. So yesterday there were 11,819. I love the thumbnail for this presentation. Like those of you who see the newsletter, I think I was frankly particularly pithy today in terms
you're
of
really a genius if you do say so yourself.
For today, for what will I present as the subject matter for when we do the headlines in the radio program, right? And how will we present it on YouTube and therefore in the newsletter? And if you've seen the so-called thumbnail, it's an aerial view of Mar-a-Lago. Thank you, Randy. It's exactly what I wanted with the words, "Let's get physical."
It's perfect.
How's that the juxtaposition of the two big stories of the day?
I gasped when the news of her death came through.
Yeah.
Literally, I gasped out loud. That is how much I love Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, it's upsetting to me. I
love her. That's my childhood.
And then I saw, you're ahead of me. You're ahead of me.
Sorry.
And I interviewed John Travolta, and you were there.
Yep.
And I really enjoy, and his wife was still.
Kelly Preston.
She was with him.
And she died of breast cancer.
Yes.
So, and this is a 30-year battle.
Danny Zuko. I love that movie. And I got to say, Olivia Newton-John is like ABBA. I'm man enough to admit that, I loved Olivia Newton-John and her music.
I am also man enough to admit that
I'm man enough to admit that when I went to Roger Waters the other night,
here we go,
on a video screen at the Wells Fargo Center, it said that Barry Manilow is coming in a week or two to play the hits.
Did you cheer?
I'm kind of into it.
I know you are.
Yeah. So that would make my summer lineup Dead and Company, John Anderson and the Paul Green Academy of Rock, Roger Waters, twice, and Barry Manilow. Like a psychiatrist could do a book on someone
Yeah.
who saw those live shows.
You're a complicated guy, Michael. You know what I'm saying?
I am a complicated man. That's why I have these glasses.
Wait, they're comfortable though, aren't they? And
I don't
they're
know.
yellow on the inside, so then they give you color, like they reflect
Who's talking
color.
to me?
Well, you can't see me if you're wearing those glasses. Now you can see me.
11,819 votes were cast yesterday. Thank you for that. Biden's recent legislative victory will what? Save Democratic control of the House? Save Democratic control of the Senate? Both or neither? A plurality, meaning not a majority, but a plurality said neither. 38% said in the end it's not going to do either. I think it might save control of the Senate. And there's good coverage today at Smerconish.com about how, in some respects, Blake Masters in Arizona, Herschel Walker in Georgia, Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania, that it has the feel of a Christine O'Donnell, Todd Aiken year, where certain of these Senate candidates in winnable states, they were just aberrant. They were not the right people to be nominated. And winnable races became losing races for the GOP. And I'll tell you whose fault it's going to be. It'll be Trump's fault. In the same way, think about this. If you're not happy with the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, if you're not happy with the, like tenfold increase in the budget of the IRS, remember that Donald Trump, in my opinion, swayed the outcome of the Georgia Senate elections with all that don't trust mail-in ballots, and I think it ended up suppressing a Republican vote. Control of the United States Senate, in my opinion, would be in the hands of the Republicans, but for Trump. And of course, Trump is the lead story of the day today. Holy smokes. I'm asking the following in my survey question. Does the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago make it more or less likely that Donald Trump is the GOP nominee? I love that question. You would think that the execution of the FBI of a search warrant of the former president's residence, something absolutely unprecedented. You would, like if you just landed here from Mars and you said, okay, there's been a showing of probable cause to a federal magistrate judge and evidence of that crime rests in this residence, at least so says the affidavit of probable cause that convinced the federal magistrate judge, doesn't mean that there's been a showing of criminal action by a particular person. That's really important to distinguish, but kind of it does, but all right, technically it doesn't. But if you landed here from Mars, you'd say, what? And whoever that person is going to run for political office? Well, they'll never win. But of course, we live in wacky times, and you saw the reaction to the search, as Trump says, the raid on Mar-a-Lago in the conservative media last night. I was really surprised, and you know that I pay closer attention to the media and its role in our politics than, frankly, anything else. And I was surprised last night by how quickly the usual suspects coalesced around this narrative that this was a partisan witch hunt. And the reason that I was surprised is because, there's still so much that's unknown. At this particular moment, what do we think we know substantively? Well, I'll go with the Washington Post, which is what I posted at Smerconish.com. Former President Donald Trump said Monday that the FBI had raided his Mar-a-Lago club and searched his safe, activity related to an investigation into the potential mishandling of classified documents, according to two people familiar with the probe. Is it really, only about that? Would Merrick Garland permit, because he had to sign off on this, the execution of a search warrant at a former president's house if it pertains only to the mishandling of classified documents? And when they went through the door, presumably looking for A, but they saw B, was that really the mission? I mean, we just don't know. So why people would extend themselves, even partisan members of the media, of which I am not one, but why they would go so far out in staking their claim with Donald Trump at a moment of great uncertainty, I think is very revealing. And there are so many aspects of this story that I have discussed and will continue to discuss. It's amazing that it stayed under wraps until There was this reveal by the guy at Florida Politics, which Trump then confirmed. That shocks me as well. The political ramifications in terms of, does he now announce? We've already been talking about whether former President Trump announces before the midterms. You'd have to say this increases the odds that he announces before the midterms. Ron DeSantis, how about the way DeSantis played it? How about the way DeSantis played it, and Rubio and Rick Scott, like all of the Florida Politico leadership on the Republican side of the aisle. But DeSantis, why would DeSantis have so quickly? Let me just see if I can find you his words. I've got them in front of me. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis calling it a weaponization of federal agencies. Why would DeSantis so quickly have jumped into this instead of sitting back and reading the tea leaves? Maybe because he wants to lay claim to that MAGA audience. But why not sit back and see if it really develops into something? Because he and others might have egg on their face if there's something big here. But he jumped right into it, got right on board. Anyway, answer today's survey question at Smerconish.com and tell me whether you think this increases or decreases the odds that Donald Trump is the Republican nominee. Does it increase or decrease the odds? I'm reminded of, I've told the story before, John Street running for re-election, city of Philadelphia, against Republican Sam Katz. Huge registration edge for the Democrats, but Katz had come within a whisker of beating Street when they ran against each other in the first time. I think this was 1991. A listening device, again, a showing of probable cause, allows the FBI to put a listening device in the mayor's office. It's discovered right before the election. It turns out that Street was not the focus of the probe. People around him were. You would think, again, from the outside looking in, wow, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's going to really hurt him politically. It ended up getting him reelected. In the same way that a federal search warrant being executed at Mar-a-Lago may guarantee Trump the nomination. And if he wins the nomination, then, who knows what happens in a general election? Who knows? Because don't evaluate him in a bubble. What if it's Trump against Kamala Harris? You just don't know. So yes, the headline that I put on the aerial photograph of Mar-a-Lago is, let's get physical, because I thought it was kind of funny and poignant at the same time. Olivia Newton-John, boy, TC, she battled cancer for a long time.
They said 30 years, because I knew when I heard she died, of course, I thought, did the cancer come back? But I don't know what that means. If you battle cancer for 30 years, does that mean it is in recession and then it comes back? And then I don't know, but 73 is way too young to die. And I just, my heart goes out to her family and everybody. I thought that was sort of a stunning loss.
I know you purport to be younger than I am.
Yes, 10 years.
You purport that to be the case.
This is amazing. Go ahead.
So,
71.
but in
Next
1978, that's when Grease came out.
Right,
so I was in
7.
high school. Right. So
little TC, I loved it.
You did.
Oh.
Okay, because I remember girls in my high school class, one in particular, who could pull it off, by the way, showing up in leather black pants.
Okay, so that was
because
not
Olivia
right.
Newton-John was like all the thing.
Right. Well, I'm sure
you'd
my
have been
parents,
arrested in North Carolina.
I'm sure my parents did not approve of the smoking, drinking, and blatant sexuality that was part of Grease. But the whole
soft
musical theater. Not to the Cannon family, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the whole musical theater thing was very big in my house. So we were allowed to watch it. And I just loved it.
Woody and Helen allowed the screening of Grease.
How else would I know? And I mean, I could sing the entire thing.
Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
Remember the whole plot. Like he had met Sandy Olsen in the summer and they had this relationship. Now they come back to school and like he's a greaser.
And
right?
She's new.
Right. And he has to act all tough around his buddies.
Listen to you.
Unlike the way he was in the summer.
Yes,
I saw it. That year I saw it many times. I saw it at the County Theater in Doylestown. I probably even paid a few times to go and see it.
Oh, too good.
Anyway, too soon. Too
that's
soon.
The bottom line.
73 years old.
We were belting Olivia Newton-John tunes in the kitchen yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were.
I think you're right.
And also on the same day, David McCullough. Native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, David McCullough, known to millions as an award-winning best-selling author and an appealing television host and narrator with a rare gift for recreating the great events and characters of America's past, died on Sunday at his home in, is it pronounced Hingham?
Hingham. Yes, indeed.
Southeast of Boston. He was 89 years old. The New York Times says deep research and lively readability were hallmarks of his books. So was their tendency to leap off the shelves. Truman topped the New York Times bestseller list for 43 weeks. John Adams, #1 in its first week, and has since gone through dozens more printing. I had the privilege of hosting him in studio when 1776 came out in Philadelphia. He was first of all, he was such a gentleman, so well spoken, and so well dressed. And I had the opportunity to ask him on air, like, wow, look at you. And it was kind of the beginning of something. Here's our exchange. The very week that 1776 has come out. What a privilege to have you here. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Michael, very much. I'm delighted to be here.
Dapper fella you are, by the way. I wish we were doing television this morning instead of radio. Who dresses you?
Thank you. Paul Stuart.
Isn't it the greatest?
Yes.
Chicago and New York City,
Yes.
a wonderful
Yeah.
place.
I've had the same salesman, the same store. I buy the same things over and over again for 40 years.
I was in New York City yesterday, guest hosting O'Reilly's radio program, and I started to tell David McCullough this story during the break. I took 1776 out to dinner. I was of this on dress, or is that it?
different
Okay, so the person who dressed David McCullough is Ravi. And Ravi is someone from whom I've purchased a number of suits and more sport coats.
Did you know Ravi before this, or did David McCullough? Because you seem to know exactly Paul Stewart, what he was talking about.
I think I was already a customer of Paul Stewart.
Okay.
And then I then sought out Ravi.
Right.
And Ravi, who is wonderful, and you can find him in New York City at Paul Stewart today. You look at my YouTube. Do you remember I interviewed Ravi? Ravi dressed Brian Williams. Ravi dressed Walter Cronkite. Ravi dressed David Brinkley.
And you have a video of him with his
yes,
exactly.
Yeah. So sad that David McCullough is gone.
Crazy.
So sad that Olivia Newton-John is gone. There's just so much at Smerconish.com today, TC. And it's interesting because yesterday we saw another Afterlife.
I was about to
ahead.
say, please do not let us.
I won't.
We can't go without saying that the Roger Waters interview that you conducted on CNN, you aired part of it on CNN on Saturday, and then you released the whole uncut version on YouTube,
Thank
which
God.
is now
Yeah.
approaching 90,000 views, which is insane. So people all over are paying attention to it. The Daily Mail's picking it up. Newsweek
Daily Mail had a
Mediaite
lot of extensive coverage.
Video clips, really incredible.
And by the way, no word from Roger.
Is that right?
No word from Roger.
I wasn't going to ask.
No word from Roger.
Oh boy.
I went back.
Was it the Biden war criminal or the Taiwan part of China thing that made the most buzz?
I went back and I rewatched the full uncut version, okay, on my YouTube page. Because I saw all of this reaction and I just wanted to know again. And I guess what I want to say is I'm totally comfortable with the way that I comported myself and the way I conducted the interview. I'm happy with it in that I got to say the things I wanted to say and say them with respect. He got to say the things that he wanted to say. And I mean, the interview ends in a handshake,
and a smile.
And a smile.
Like a total
and him saying, thank you for speaking to me and
the
so
word
forth.
Relish. I believe both of you totally enjoyed that interview. So if he didn't like it in the end, there's no way he can't like what came out because everything came out.
But I looked at the tour schedule. I mean, he's in Washington next week.
Busy man.
He's got 2 nights at Madison Square Garden coming up. He's going to be in Dallas. He's going to be in Raleigh. He's going to be all over the place. Like, how does this publicity play for the tour?
I honestly don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer to it. I don't know the answer to it either. And one last thing. This is an appropriate way to end. We're never going to know. The New York Post picked up the story. I mean, it's catnip for the Post
and Breitbart. New York Post and Breitbart.
Work with me here.
The most conservative.
Right. Work with me here. So the Post and Breitbart picked up the Roger Waters story because, of course, they get to portray his anti-American stances.
Right.
Fox News never did. And I wonder if they were going to last night.
And then the Mar-a-Lago story.
And then Mar-a-Lago hit.
Right.
And they couldn't. So
Glasses on.
you look ravishing. Wait,
I'm
let me look at you.
I'm super good when I'm blurry.
Holy smokes.
I am so good blurry. It's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the program. Thank you for being subscribed. You are, right, to Smerconish.com, the newsletter. I listened to TC's After Dark Horseshoe Crab. That's what I'll call it episode. You should too.
You liked it, huh?
Very much so.
All
Just
right.
don't let that thing hit me in Ocean City, New Jersey. And thank you for watching. That's what I most wanted to say. So see you tomorrow on POTUS.